Good day, everyone. You're welcome on Just Event Online TV. I'm Abdul Qadri Isiaq once again on your program, Issues and Reality. Today, I think I'm in a class. I'll be speaking with one of the juggernauts of international politics and diplomacy, one of the finest we have in this country, and a son of the soil of ours, a professor and a diplomat par excellence, Professor Hassan Saliu. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you.
And I'll be taking us through a long journey of, I think, practically I will be starting my postgraduate classes in diplomacy and diplomatic studies today. And today we'll be talking about the recent, should I call it threats or declaration by the President of the United States, Donald Trump, where the long fought battles of wars and speeches by different sides where it has been claimed or alleged that there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria, which the government of Nigeria has fervently denied. And I think the writing on the wall seems to be somewhere we are not seeing. But to tackle issues like this, as a student of diplomacy like myself, I want to start from the beginning of the Nigerian diplomacy, diplomatic stance. Sir, I was wondering, I think I did a little diplomacy when I was in my undergraduate, and what we were taught is that Nigeria took a non-aligned stance at independence. But whether we like it or not, it now looks as though we are more connected to the Western Hemisphere than the old Eastern Hemisphere. But today it seems that we are being beaten by the same, Western Hemisphere. How would you describe the diplomatic stance, the foreign policy of Nigeria, the foreign policies of the Nigerian state in recent times?
Thank you. Let me lay a kind of background. Nation states often interact with one another. This is derived from the fact that no nation can be an island to itself. There are bound to be interactions among state international system. As the interactions are taking place, we are bound to have issues that will bring the country together and some other issues that will put them apart. It is in the nature of international system. That is the case because the interests of country A may and may not be the same that country B is pursuing. And I always tell my students, no one national interest is superior to the other. No matter how tiny a country is, the national pride is there, independence is there, sovereignty is there. That ordinarily no nation wants another nation to take control of sovereignty and independence. Having laid that background, I want to say that Nigeria, yes, at independence, the country adopted the no-aligned principle. By the way, the no-aligned movement was formed some years before Nigeria became independent. But people had recognized the significant role of Nigeria in Africa. So Nigeria was invited to a series of meetings that took place before the country attained her or its independence. But let me correct an impression. Nigeria didn't pursue a transparently clear no-alignment policy. Although the government that time will argue by subscribing to no-alignment, the country was not saying it will not align with the West or the East. What the government was emphasizing was that on matter A, If it will suit Nigerian interest to go with the West, Nigeria will do so. On matter B, if it suits Nigeria, if it was Nigeria interest to go to East, Nigeria will. So, but if you look at the economic relation, the volume of trade, the flow of foreign assistance, the tendency by our leader to be traveling to America, Britain, or another Western country, it will be very clear to you that we are actually aligned to the Western world. Now you have asked the question about why the center is no longer holding. I've just told you that the national interest of two countries that go together today will not go together tomorrow because of the dynamics. One president was there, was a friend of another president. Suddenly, the two of them have left office. We now have two different individuals running affairs of this country. It's not possible to expect that the way Jimmy Carter and Obasanjo are related when Obasanjo was in government will be the same way that Tinubu and Donald Trump will relate. There are circumstances in America that will not allow for that, and there are circumstances in Nigeria that will not allow for that. So every regime operates within the environment it finds itself. So we're talking about Nigeria relation with America, which I think is the key reason why you are here. Well, I don't know where you want me to start it, because as a student of foreign policy, one will be tempted to go a bit back into history and underscore the fact that Nigeria and America have always been having issues in their relationship. We have had cordial relationship, and we have also had what people call acrimonious relationship or hostility towards each other. Before now, America had complained about the management of insecurity in Nigeria, even under President Jonathan. You recall that American troops came to Nigeria, but they later left without accomplishing their mission. The argument of America at that time was that Nigeria top military officers were not serious about ending Boko Haram. Alex Bade, who was then the chief of defense staff, and the former chief of army staff, no, Victor Malu, the two of them had disagreement with America because America was demanding access to vital and strategic security area of Nigeria, and the two of them objected. Therefore, Americans were frustrated out of Nigeria. By the way, America is a new colonial country that doesn't respect the existence for other countries. America will want to dictate to everybody. And the issue of dictation didn't start yesterday. In 1975, when Angola was to be independent, President Gerald Ford of America, wrote to African countries, telling them what direction they should go on the Angola independence. Murtala disagreed, and he delivered his famous speech, or the famous speech called Africa Has Come of Age, in Addis Ababa in January 1976. Some people will say that speech led to his death because Americans were not happy that an African country could turn down a US president. You can see the same mentality prevailing now. The same mentality. And before this declaration, there was a tussle between Nigeria over bringing Venezuela prisoner to Nigeria. I think we have people you want to deport. You deport them to their
their
country,
countries.
not to Nigeria. Same-sex marriage is there. Shift in policy to China is there. Being a partner in BRIC, America does not like all that. So, to my mind, there was no and there's no genocide in Nigeria. What you have is insecurity, which the government has not managed well. Because if it had managed the thing well, we would have seen people being jailed on account of creating security in Nigeria. But instead of them going to jail, they were being invited to government functions, thereby leading people to conclude that Nigeria is actually supporting the agent of insecurity. But in terms of definition of what genocide is, Nigeria has not committed any genocidal crime. But you know, in the course of relating in the international system, we have stereotypes, we have blackmail. Before the American issue, African countries, especially West African country, had their label they give to Nigeria. Confused country, money misroad. Nigeria also, that time I don't know of now, had label they give to Ghana. So labeling is nothing extraordinary. It's an indication that things are not going well between or among countries. So for America to come out and say genocide and things like that, I think Nigeria need not to be deceived. America has grievances against Nigeria. And Nigeria is not ready to play the ball. So now that they have talked about genocide now, that will bring Nigeria to its knees. They are discussing, it's also part of international relations. You use what you have to get what you want to get.
With the little things you taught us, when things like this come around, as diplomats, you go back to history to see the precedent for things like this. And what comes to mind is the issue with Libya, the issue with Mama Gaddafi. Mama Gaddafi was all gun blazing against the West. He was there and there, let Africa be independent, let us have our own gold-backed currency. And then the government of Barack Obama went into Libya, and Libya has today has not been the same. Negatively, they have not been the same. So now we've seen, but the twist with Nigeria is that Muammar Gaddafi is a fervent enemy of the West, and he always says it. But in Nigeria today, we have politicians that goes out when they are looking for legitimacy. They seek their legitimacies from this West and the East countries. They want to be popular amongst them when it's time for election. But when they become the president, they want to be the president here and down. They start shouting sovereignty and all this. You know, I think the contradictions and the kind of local politics we play and the international policies we pursue when people already wins the election is somewhat confusing. What can you say about that, sir?
You see, some people outside who are not in the arena or who are not involved in international relations, either as scholars or diplomats, tend to get themselves woke up. But if you understand the character and nature of international system, you never get to that level. To start with, the international system has no universal policeman. Yes, we have international law. Yes, country go meet and pass resolution. All these are to the extent that a country wants to be. if you choose not to obey and no superpower or major power want to compel you, you carry go, as you say in Nigeria. Saddam Hussein would have succeeded if America were not to be interested. The resolution that America rely on didn't specify America. The resolution was let loose, was loose. Member of international community to stay step, not America lead them. America hijacked that. And there was no power to contest that with America. So America won the day. In 2003, they declared war on where? Saddam Hussein also.
Iraq.
Is it Iran? Iraq. The United Nations said it was an illegal war. Did that make America to withdraw? So the international system is not, yes, the government is talking about rule based to the extent that those who have power want to respect the law. I've just told you that going by definition of genocide, Nigeria has not crossed the boundary. One defining feature or indicator is that the state must be directly involved. In this case, has the Nigerian state ever been involved in killing Christian or killing Muslim? The truth of the matter is that the Nigerian state is not involved, but it's ineffective in managing issues that have risen out of this insecurity concern. So what I'm saying essentially is that Gaddafi, yes, he had an ideological inclination, and that he developed right from the time he took over power. The president of Nigeria is not from that background. And some people will say that President Tinubu has been affording America. Maybe when you have access to the prayer, you ask him why. The last United Nations he sent,
it was not there. I think 3 has been done now.
There were issues between him and Donald Trump. And the issues will revolve around Donald Trump wanting Nigeria to take certain actions. And Tinubu, President Tinubu, not inclined toward taking those actions. Now, the genocide issue just came up. So it's not that our president is a neoliberal person. He's not a Marxist. He's cool America. He sees himself more like an American citizen. Therefore, there must have been certain fundamental issues that have prevented him from visiting America since he became the president, or frequenting America. He may have gone to America quietly, but frequenting America in his capacity as
president of Nigeria.
So international system doesn't have hard facts. It's very dynamic. A country that you are in conflict with today may be your best friend tomorrow, because national interests differ. America has interest in some economic resources in Nigeria. Maybe the president of Nigeria has not been too willing to open the gate for the American president. Any American president will have this bully attitude. We are top of the world. We must dictate to everybody. Whether you call the president Obama, you call him Ford,
then they call him Bush.
That is standard, that we are on top of the world. everybody must accept and toe our line. But this country you are expecting to toe your line are also independent nations. They have national pride. So that is the nature of international system. We have head boys, as I always tell my students, who want to control everybody, but there are no father and mother. Because America that will promise you to do certain thing in order for you to benefit one thing, after doing what they ask you to do, America can turn it back. And there's no court to go to that they made a promise and they didn't fulfill it. In 1991, Nigeria was promised to produce the Secretary General of the UN. Obasanjo applied. At the last minute, they withdrew from it. And Obasanjo came up on account of the assurances he had received. But when they changed their mind, I don't think it was after the defeat of Obasanjo that they were finding excuses to give to him. I don't think they called him to say, no, we are not going to support you. They sided with both Bradley at the expense of Obasanjo, and Obasanjo came a distant third in that context. That is international system. Who is the father you are going to report to? Who is the mother you are going to report to? And that's why some people in international relations believe that the only thing that can make you to be dominant, that can make you to be recognized, that can make you to be influential is only when you have power.
We're talking about power, sir. In Africa, we used to have some very bold leaders that don't hide their convictions. We used to have the Thomas and Karans of this world. We used to have the Patrice Lumumbas of this world, even our own Murtala Muhammad, and all those people that come out. We have Muammar Gaddafi. Though many of them met their demise, we used to have Magufuli. Some people still believe that President Magufuli was a victim of his conviction. But here we are today. We are blessed with what some people tag as coward neoliberal leaders, where African presidents are invited into the White House. They sit amongst like schoolboys, where they are being schooled by American president and other officials. We've had Ted Cruz talking about Nigeria as if he lives here, and we've had people, even Christians, saying that there is no Christian genocide, there is insecurity, we have issues, but not. And some people would have said, okay, there was a professor of Islamic law that said that maybe it's because of economic issues. We now have a refinery that is working, and we used to refine our oil with them. Maybe it's a economic issue. And some people have come out to say maybe it's the siding with Gaza, with Nigeria taking the side on the Gaza issue after the last UN General Assembly in New York by the Vice President of Nigeria. But all of these put together contribute, and where do Africans stand in all this? What is the fate of Africa as a bloc? Because Africa is expected to be a bloc. Do we have can Africa stand on its own and say, America can do whatever they want to do, and we'll be our own, we'll take our own? Because I think African is expected to be the centerpiece of Nigeria, foreign policies.
Yes, you have packed so many things together. I will try to unpack them. The first issue you have raised about African leader is the fact that we had ideologically committed leader. Maybe because of the end of the Cold War, or the problem in Russia, or problems of former Soviet Union that led to collapse of
the old Soviet Union.
Maybe. So we do not have leaders who are ideologically committed. How you can bring that back, I don't know. But that's the truth of the matter. Again, what happened to those leaders with ideological commitment? Most of them were killed by imperialist forces, sending a signal to those who are to come after them that the same fate will befall you. Three, some of the leaders school in the West, they have investment in the West. They are used to Western life. They get the support of the West to be where they are.
today.
So it will be difficult for a man who is only exposed to Western history, philosophy, principle, lifestyle, to be taken to China or another place where you have some element of command. It will be difficult. So history move in phases. You can't history back and say because you used to have. What other aspect did you
Because
mention?
Africa is supposed, Africa, I believe Africa is supposed to be a block to reckon with, not a baby to be talked down upon.
You see, why the leaders that you have mentioned did their best, they were unable to resolve critical problem in Africa. And the problem are getting to an alarming level, thereby causing desperation on the part of those who are ruling to want solution by all means. And those who they think have the solution have their conditionalities, written, spoken, or otherwise. And the conditionality will be that you will not challenge the growth of capitalism. All these deregulation or removal of subsidy,
Of
all
this
these
Bretton Woods economies.
African leaders want to be in the good book of these people. Why Nigerians are complaining? Most times you see Bretton Woods commending the current government in Nigeria. Sometimes they are critical, but most times they always commend. When you have poverty level that's so high, yet they are saying the policy at work. Therefore, taxes will be introduced as from January. And I've done a small observation. Except people in government, I don't see those who have driven themselves to filling station and were married from there smiling. I don't know, maybe I've seen, maybe
I haven't.
you know, me, I'm a university person, so maybe
I think that is the anthem on everybody's mouth today.
so. If that is the case, and some people are saying keep on introducing new liberal,
Economy policies.
let people keep on dying, let people keep on being disempowered, and that is deepening the gulf between the government and the people. If you conduct a public opinion now, most people who may want to support America may decide to do so or are doing so not because they like America, but because they don't like certain aspects of the current government because of the hardship.
Well, but as a professor and the little things you have taught people like us, we know that all these commands are still coming from the same America. It's like, it's like
That's what I'm saying now. I said our leader want to please the Western world,
And
even if their people are dying. I've said so now.
I understand. What I want to drive out there is that now this same Western world is now threatening guns on our people after impoverish our people.
You know, Fidel Castro said something that whoever has been used to a system of privilege or privileges will not want to hands off. America has benefited from Nigeria. Probably Nigeria has benefited from America. And America has more information about strategic issues in Nigeria, even than Nigeria. There are certain minerals that have been developed that America is interested. So use what you have to squeeze tiny country to get them to comply. If it means talking about labeling them, I don't think America is really interested in intervening in Nigeria militarily, but just to create fear and panic. Of course, the American government will not mind a regime change from all what they have done. At least recent past, it seems that they are not friendly with the current government of Nigeria. So maybe this self-inflicted, what do you call it, as my friend told me this morning, America just manufacture an excuse. Because there's no substance in the claim. Apology to some of our Christian brothers and sisters who may think otherwise. But the thing I want to say is that, tell me of any country that America has intervened that country has survived.
No, not even a white country like them.
You talk about Libya.
Talk about Greece.
So even Somalia, America was the first country to have intervened in Somalia.
Talk about the Black Hawk Down issues.
So what I'm saying essentially is that people don't know what they are talking about. Hatred for Tinubu government is one thing. Long-term effect of American involvement in Nigeria is another
thing entirely.
Tinubu will spend 2 times or 1 time and go. Nigeria will remain.
Libya has not remained the same since 2012.
So I think America just used that to ride the popular wave. To get the government to come down. Whether Nigerians survive or die, it doesn't matter to imperialist nation. All what they want are your resources. So those who are thinking America is their father and mother, it's a lie. America doesn't have any child anywhere. They only protect you when their father interests. So Nigerians should not make a mistake that America should get involved. The whole world has gone Libra. When you start talking about Marxism, how many countries are still practicing natural Marxism? As a theory, as an academic engagement, it's still relevant. But when you talk about praxis,
then even in the so-called communist country, you see elements of imperialism.
So now, what can Nigeria do? One is to intensify diplomatic effort. We can't fight America. Let's banish that off from our mind. We don't have what it takes to engage America. It's diplomatic means that we should use. As we are doing that, let's reassess ourselves and realize that we have not done too well as a nation with respect to malady of insecurity in Nigeria. We have not done too well. Let's tell ourselves the home truth. We don't need to wait for America to come and tell us. So if you now recognize that you have not done well, then what are the steps we need to do? Let those people who are killing people be brought to justice. So that will convince the world that you are actually fighting against security. But by the time you invite them to public function and you are negotiating with them,
it makes you look complicit.
Why are Nigeria not supporting the war against insecurity? Why are Nigeria giving intelligence report to bandits?
I think that can be said about the trust gap between the government and
They
the
will have to
people.
bridge it. Let the war be taken as the war that Nigerians themselves are waging. For now, that is not the case. And with the economic situation, people are pulling in one direction while government is pulling in another direction.
Which necessarily causes.
What are the ammunition? How are the soldiers being kitted? What about the welfare issue? Are they getting the budgetary allocation? Who are the people sitting on the budget? What about the black leg in government and the military? How come Nigerian soldiers, Nigerian army the bandits will know when the Nigerian army will strike? But when bandits will strike,
Nigeria means we don't know.
Why? Why? The matter can be brought significantly under control if there is the political will. As you speak, there is no political will. Because when you want to move, people say you are fighting against Yoruba. You are fighting against Fulani. You are fighting against Hausa. But a criminal is a criminal. But Nigeria, a criminal, in some circumstances, is not a criminal.
He's being persecuted.
So let Nigerians decide that there will be no favoritism again. And the economic environment is harsh. As long as people don't have what to eat, and bandits are giving people where they operate 15,000 per day or 10,000 per day, whether we like it or not, there are people that will give them support. Because we are talking about hunger. We are not talking about skipping lunch and take dinner. We are talking about nothing in the breakfast, nothing for the lunch,
Nothing for supper.
Days running. So the economic environment needs to be tampered with. Governors and presidents must make sure people feel their presence, the presence of government. Some towns and villages in Nigeria only get to hear about somebody that want to be governor every 4 years. They have not occupied the center place or central consideration in policy formulation. As long as some areas are abandoned, criminals will go there and establish their own authority, because such places are usually ungoverned spaces. The neoliberal policy that are being sold to us, we need to sit down. Because if you look at the statistics, it's likely that we have grown more people in poverty in the last 3 or 4 years.
I think that's not a lie. That's not a lie.
So how do you expect things to be stable when people are sleeping or jumping into poverty
Every second.
every second? The sense of nationalism, patriotism in them will not be high. Something feeds something before you have nationalism. Something feeds something before you have patriotism. Prices of goods keep on changing. Yes, they say some of them are coming down, but not to the level desired. With Dangote refinery, some of us thought that we'll be buying fuel at 300 naira, but now the thing's going up. So the Nigerian government must realize there must be Nigeria And there must be Nigeria and Nigeria before the Nigerian government. They should double their effort and retrace their step to serve the people. The Western world that some African leaders are trying to please, you teach them. And I can cite two examples. In 2011, President Jonathan was favored to be Nigerian president by the West. In fact, Jonathan was their toast. In 2015, they reduced support to Buhari. In 2019, they switched, they left Buhari alone and wanted Atiku. So, I once wrote an article on that, but be mindful of America. America is an hard fighting country. Once America set its mind on something, America want to get it. That this romance you are having with them, please be careful. You may soon lose it. What happened at the end of the day? So it's their interest that matter to them, not the whether you are tall or athletic or short or have tribal mark or you don't have tribal mark. They are not bothered. In what way are you going to open the door for more Western penetration? When they talk about democracy, we talk about this one. It's a lie. Why have they not put democracy in Saudi Arabia? Why have they tolerated some countries that are not democratic and then flogging some other to be democratic? We have double standard international system, which has arisen because we don't have any enforcing authority. If America decides to intervene in Nigeria and there's no power that will call it to order, that become part of the international system. When Russia went to where? Ukraine. And America has been mounting support, but we have not seen it concretely. Get yourself prepared to engage in the game that nation play. And you cannot succeed unless you show seriousness, unless you show the preparedness to engage in the game. For you to sleep off or assume another person will work for you, they won't work for you. Another person won't work for you. Another country won't work for you. When America issued the threat, how many counter threats have you heard?
Same from other American countries.
They are your own. The only thing that can prevent another country from interfering is when they know you have a strong domestic base. In Nigeria of today, majority of Nigeria are not wishing government well. In fact, some Nigerians will want America to come today. So, in that kind of situation, how many successful war can you wage? So my appeal to government is that please, a strong domestic environment encourages assertive foreign policy agenda, or encourages an assertive foreign policy agenda. By the time you are pleasing people in Western world and your people are dying at home, when the Western world turn their back against you,
then you might not have any home to come to.
There are people who are ready to sabotage the government in Nigeria. So let Nigeria now try do everything to prevent whether America is right or wrong. Please let them stay where they are. Meet them halfway, because you are just too vulnerable at home. You are just too vulnerable at home. Because the people thought that it's only Western world that will make things to happen politically. But with what is happening now, and I don't know, I'm not a soothsayer, But I think the declaration has a political objective
To make the government unpopular even amongst some people.
to effect a regime change. If they have not told you, that might be where they are going.
Exactly. That was what I said. They are trying to make the government unpopular. And then the government in less than 2 years will be seeking a re-election.
And with the fire that is burning now, bring it down from the high moral level that you are occupying. You have to struggle. I'm not a thief. I never stole anything in my work. Meanwhile, there are pieces coming go behind you. The confusion this thing has created in government side. Do you think everything can be the same? How many people want to say you die with government, let America come to you? Maybe you know, I don't know. So I think it's, let us not even contemplate it. Then Nigeria learn lessons. Go to America, the president go to America, discuss and grab some concession. But there's no way this thing can be resolved without the concession. Then after coming back, the president should realize that the only line of defense he has are the Nigerian people, not America. He may have schooled there, may have worked with Moby there, work for him. But where his line of defense is not pursuing new
economic policies. Thank you very much. I think I've been in a class I think this is this should be all research work for maybe an MSc. I think I used to consider myself as already 3 years. Here today, I'm listening. I've learned a lot of things, talking about the length, the breadth, the hidden truth in plain sight, and the concept and the implications of everything that has gone through on and off. Thank you very much. That was our own dear Professor Hassan Saliu, a diplomat, a scribe, a scholar par excellence, and I think somebody that has spent a long years in class. I think he has just done one of those class prerogatives to us today. It has been a very lengthy and educating one. I remember myself of the country once again. Do have a lovely day. See you next week.